Most people believe that high blood pressure is a medication problem. You get the diagnosis. You get the prescription. You take the pill every morning. And that's the conversation. Done. I have sat with patients who have been on 3, 4, sometimes 5 blood pressure medications simultaneously. Their pressure was still not controlled. They were doing everything their doctor told them to do. And not a single one of them had ever been told what I'm about to tell you today. The most powerful tools for controlling blood pressure after 60 are not in a pharmacy. They are in a kitchen. And most seniors have no idea how to use them. I am not talking about a diet. I am not talking about giving up the foods you love. I am talking about 5 specific, simple changes, things you can start tonight, that work through the same biological mechanisms as the medications your doctor prescribes, but without the side effects, without the cost, and in many cases, with results that genuinely surprise the people who try them. My name is Dr. Alan Grant. I'm a physician with over 2 decades of experience in cardiovascular health and senior longevity. And today I'm going to show you 5 simple ways seniors can lower blood pressure with food, starting tonight. Stay with me. What you're about to learn could change the conversation you have at your next doctor's appointment and possibly reduce how many medications you need to take. Before we get to the 5 foods, I need you to understand something that most doctors don't have time to explain. After 60, your blood pressure doesn't just go up because of stress or salt. Something deeper is happening inside your arteries. Think of your blood vessels like a garden hose. When you're young, that hose is flexible. It stretches when pressure builds. It absorbs the force. It handles the flow without resistance. But as you age, the walls of those vessels begin to stiffen. They lose their elasticity. Collagen gradually replaces the elastic tissue. And a rigid hose cannot handle the same pressure a flexible one can. The heart has to push harder. The pressure climbs. Now here's what makes this personal. The primary driver of that stiffening process is not genetics. It is not simply age. It is chronic, silent inflammation in the walls of your blood vessels. Inflammation you cannot feel. Inflammation that has no obvious symptoms. But inflammation that day after day, year after year, quietly hardens those vessels and forces your blood pressure higher. And here is the most important thing I can tell you about that inflammation. What you eat 3 times a day is either fighting it or feeding it. Every meal is a decision your body makes about your blood pressure. Most people don't realize that. Most doctors don't have time to explain it. That is exactly what this video is about. Not replacing your medication. I want to be very clear about that. But giving your body 5 powerful tools that work alongside whatever your doctor has prescribed. Tools that in many cases can make a measurable difference within days. Are you ready? Let's start. Item number 1. Eat your vegetables first. Here's a question. When you sit down for dinner tonight, what do you reach for first? If you're like most people, it's the bread, the potatoes, a bite of whatever is closest. I want you to try something different. Something that sounds almost too simple to matter. Eat your vegetables first, before anything else on that plate. Every single meal. Here's why this works. When you eat vegetables first, the fiber in those vegetables forms a physical barrier in your stomach, a kind of mesh. And what that barrier does is slow down how fast sugar from the rest of your meal enters your bloodstream. Why does that matter for blood pressure? Because every time your blood sugar spikes sharply after a meal, your body releases a flood of insulin. And that insulin surge causes your blood vessels to constrict, to tighten. Right there at the dinner table, your blood pressure is going up and you have no idea it's happening. I have had patients who changed nothing else. Same food, same portions, same medications, just the order. Vegetables first, protein second, carbohydrates last. Their post-meal blood pressure readings dropped noticeably within 2 weeks. Same food, different order, real results. What to do? Tonight, before you touch the rice or the bread or the pasta, finish your vegetables first. Every bite, every meal. This single habit costs nothing and requires no special food. Just a different sequence. Item number 2. Apple cider vinegar with every meal. Now let's talk about something that has probably been sitting in your pantry for years doing nothing. Apple cider vinegar. 1 to 2 tablespoons in a glass of water with every meal. I can already hear the skepticism. Good. Healthy skepticism is exactly what keeps us from falling for nonsense. So let me show you precisely why this works. because there is real science behind it. The active ingredient in apple cider vinegar is acetic acid. And acetic acid does two very specific things for your blood pressure. First, it improves insulin sensitivity. Remember those post-meal blood sugar spikes that squeeze your blood vessels? Acetic acid blunts that spike. It helps your cells respond to insulin more efficiently so your body doesn't have to release as much of it. Less insulin, less vasoconstriction, lower pressure. Second, and this is the part that genuinely excited me when I first read the research, acetic acid stimulates the production of nitric oxide in your blood vessel walls. Nitric oxide is your body's natural vasodilator. It tells your arteries to relax and open up. It is essentially doing what an entire class of blood pressure medications tries to do, but naturally for about $3 a bottle. One important caution: never drink apple cider vinegar straight. Always dilute it in at least 8 ounces of water. Undiluted vinegar can damage tooth enamel and irritate your esophagus. Use a straw if you can. And if you have any history of stomach ulcers or acid reflux, speak to your doctor before starting this. What to do? 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in 8 ounces of water with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Give it 3 weeks and check your numbers. Item number 3. Walnuts before bed. Let me ask you something. Do you check your blood pressure in the morning? Most people do. But here is what almost nobody talks about. What happens to your blood pressure while you are asleep? For many people over 60, pressure doesn't drop the way it should during the night. It should go down. It should give your heart a rest. But in a condition called nocturnal hypertension, it stays elevated or actually surges during the early morning hours. While you are lying there completely unaware, your heart is working overtime. Nocturnal hypertension is one of the most underdiagnosed and dangerous patterns in cardiovascular medicine. It is linked to significantly higher risk of stroke and heart attack. And your regular daytime readings will not catch it. So what do walnuts have to do with any of this? Quite a lot, actually. About 30 grams of walnuts, roughly 14 halves, eaten 30 minutes before bed has been shown in multiple studies to meaningfully reduce nighttime blood pressure. Here's why. Walnuts are one of the richest plant sources of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. They also contain melatonin and a compound called L-arginine. Together, these work to relax blood vessel walls, reduce vascular inflammation, and support that natural nighttime pressure drop your body is supposed to make. Think of it as a gentle signal to your cardiovascular system. Time to rest. Stand down. 30 grams. 14 halves. 30 minutes before bed. What to do? Write that down. Keep a small jar of walnuts on your nightstand or kitchen counter. Make it a habit as automatic as brushing your teeth. It is one of the simplest things I recommend, and one of the most consistently effective. Item number 4. Hibiscus tea 3 times a day. I want to tell you about a flower. A deep red flower used in traditional medicine across Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East for centuries, and that modern cardiovascular research has finally caught up with. Hibiscus tea. 3 cups a day. If you have never heard of hibiscus tea, you may know it by another name. Sorrel, carcade, red tea. It has a tart, cranberry-like flavor and it is remarkably powerful. Here is the science. Hibiscus flowers contain compounds called anthocyanins and organic acids, specifically hibiscus acids. And these compounds act on your blood vessels in a way that is strikingly similar to a class of prescription medications called ACE inhibitors. You may have heard of ACE inhibitors. They are among the most commonly prescribed blood pressure drugs in the world. What they do is block an enzyme that causes your blood vessels to constrict. Hibiscus does the same thing naturally, without the persistent dry cough that so many patients complain about as a side effect of the medication. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that drinking hibiscus tea daily reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 7 points in adults with mildly elevated pressure. 7 points. That is clinically significant. That is the kind of result that gets attention in peer-reviewed research. One important note. If you are already taking an ACE inhibitor medication, please talk to your doctor before adding hibiscus tea regularly, because combining a natural ACE inhibitor with a pharmaceutical one can push your pressure too low. That is not the goal. What to do? 3 cups a day, hot or cold. Minimal sugar. A small spoon of honey if you need it. 1 cup in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening. Your arteries will respond. Item number 5. Replace your cooking oils. I want you to walk to your kitchen after this video, Open your cupboard and look at what oils you have in there. Because what I'm about to tell you may be the most important thing in this entire video. And it is also the thing that food manufacturers have spent considerable resources making sure you do not fully understand. Most of the cooking oils that line supermarket shelves, canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 is not inherently harmful. Your body needs some of it. The problem is the ratio. For most of human history, people consumed roughly equal amounts of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Today, the average person consumes anywhere from 15 to 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3. 15 to 20 times. And that extreme imbalance drives chronic systemic inflammation. The same slow-burning inflammation in your blood vessel walls that stiffens your arteries year after year. But it gets worse. These oils are chemically unstable at high heat. When you cook with them, they oxidize. They break down into compounds called aldehydes, which are directly toxic to blood vessel walls. You cannot see it happening. Your food does not taste any different, but the damage accumulates with every meal. So what should you use instead? 2 things. Extra virgin olive oil for everything that does not require very high heat. Salad dressings, light sautéing, drizzling over vegetables. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in oleocanthal, a natural anti-inflammatory compound, and in monounsaturated fats that actively support healthy blood vessel function. Decades of research support this without serious debate. And for higher heat cooking, real butter. Yes, butter, not margarine. Margarine is made from the same problematic vegetable oils we are trying to eliminate. Real butter, from grass-fed cows if you can find it, used in reasonable amounts, is a far better choice for your cardiovascular system than the refined seed oils most people cook with every single day. I know this goes against what many of you were told 20 or 30 years ago. The science has moved on. What to do? Check your cupboard tonight. If you have canola or soybean oil, stop buying it when it runs out. Replace it with extra virgin olive oil. That one change alone, over 3 to 6 months, can make a measurable difference in your inflammatory markers and your blood pressure. I want to tell you about a patient I'll call Margaret, 67 years old, retired school principal. Meticulous about her health. Annual checkups without fail. She had been on 3 blood pressure medications for 4 years. Her pressure was managed, but barely. Her doctor kept saying they might need to add a 4th. Margaret came to me not because something dramatic had happened. She came because she was tired of the medications, tired of the side effects, tired of feeling like her body was a problem to be managed rather than a person to be helped. We talked for a long time. I asked her what she ate, how she cooked, what oils were in her kitchen, what she did in the evenings. Everything she was doing was reasonable, except for 3 things. She ate dinner late, usually after 8 p.m. She cooked with canola oil every single day, and she had never once eaten her vegetables first. Those 3 things alone were keeping a low level of inflammation running continuously in her blood vessels. Quietly, invisibly. Every day. We made 5 changes. The ones I just described to you. All of them. She started that week. 6 weeks later, Margaret came back for her follow-up. Her doctor, who had not been involved in our conversation, called me. He said he was puzzled. Her pressure had dropped significantly. He was considering reducing one of her medications. Margaret told me something at that appointment that I have thought about many times since. She said, "Nobody ever asked me what I was eating. In 4 years of being treated for high blood pressure, not one doctor asked me what was on my plate." That question, that simple question, was worth more than the 4th prescription she almost received. I want to stop here for a moment because I think something important needs to be said. You have just heard 5 things. Eat vegetables first. Apple cider vinegar with meals. Walnuts before bed. Hibiscus tea 3 times a day. Replace the wrong oils. And I can already predict what some of you are thinking. This sounds too simple. If it really worked, my doctor would have told me. I understand that reaction completely. But here is what 2 decades of working with patients over 60 has taught me. The most powerful interventions are almost never the most complicated ones. The body is not looking for complexity. It is looking for the right conditions to heal itself. Every single one of these 5 strategies works through the same fundamental mechanism. reducing inflammation and improving blood vessel flexibility. That is the whole game. 5 different approaches, 1 destination. And here is what I want you to understand most clearly. These strategies do not replace your medication. Not unless your doctor decides to reduce it based on your results. What they do is give your body the tools it needs to work alongside your treatment to make everything more effective. You are not a passive recipient of a prescription. You are an active participant in your own cardiovascular health. The kitchen is one of the most powerful tools you have. You now know how to use it. 5 simple ways seniors can lower blood pressure with food. Let me say them one more time clearly. 1. Eat your vegetables first at every meal, before the bread, before the rice, before anything else. The fiber slows glucose absorption and reduces insulin-driven vasoconstriction. 2. 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in water with each meal. Improves insulin sensitivity and stimulates natural nitric oxide production in your vessel walls. 3. 30 grams of walnuts, about 14 halves, 30 minutes before bed. Targets nocturnal hypertension through omega-3, melatonin, and L-arginine. 4. 3 cups of hibiscus tea every day, hot or cold, minimal sugar. Acts as a natural ACE inhibitor and has published evidence for 7-point systolic reductions. 5. Replace canola and soybean oils with extra virgin olive oil and real butter. Eliminates the primary dietary source of chronic arterial inflammation. That is it. 5 things. No exotic supplements. No expensive equipment. Nothing that requires a prescription. Pick one tonight. Just one. Start there. I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 changes are you going to try first? And have you ever had a doctor ask you what you were eating when they diagnosed you with high blood pressure? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And your answer might help someone else watching this take that first step tonight. If this video gave you something useful, please share it. Not for me, for someone in your life who is on blood pressure medication and has never once been told that what is on their plate matters as much as what is in their pill organizer. Send this to them. It could change everything. Everything shared in this video is based on current published research and peer-reviewed medical literature. This is general information, not personal medical advice. Every person's situation is unique. Please consult your own doctor before making any changes, and never stop or reduce any medication your doctor has prescribed without speaking to them first. Take care of yourself. Your body has been working for you every single day of your life. Give it the attention it deserves.